Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. If you liked the video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, comment, leave me your thoughts on whatever you like in the content of the video. It's all based around me touring in 2018 with Tash Sultana, first 3 days ever away from the UK working. So I hope you like the video and enjoy the content. First ever day on tour outside of the country. Like in my career as a sound engineer, as an industry professional, I toured the UK multiple times. Like some like actual tours where I've been away on a bus, and a fair few when I've just like been doing different theatre dates throughout, just in a van or a little like crew transport or like bus, whatever, like van with like minibus sort of thing. Where I've done like multiple dates in that sort of situation, so I've sort of sat at the different levels and done the different things. Whereas like whilst doing all of that, I'd never actually gone around Europe working or anything like this before. I think I was like 22, 21, one of the two. I'd just gotten back in the industry after a little break, being a manager of 2 Seasons, which is a skate shop near me, and after going through retail after 4 and a bit years doing live events, I hated it so much. Like retail, I respect it so much after having done it for like 8-9 months, and becoming a supervisor of a store, which it's not the most popular store ever, but it was never like dead. There was always stuff you had to be doing, so you're always busy. But I made some lifelong friends there, which I'm happy that I did do it for nothing else but for them. But I took a week of holiday to do, I think it was like 4 or 5 different events through that week. So I was earning like a fair whack just out of having that week off. So then after that week, I met a gentleman called Dan, who had been through it all. He'd been monitor engineer for Stranglers, mixed LRAIR, UB40. He moved on. He's done I forget. He did Cat Empire for a while, which is an amazing band. But he also what was that popular song that's been around recently? Dance Monkey Dance. Tones and I. He did Tones and I for a good while as well last year, up until lockdown. Basically, he was touring with Tones and I. So he phoned me up after this week. And it was just after I became self-employed and quit from being a supervisor in a retail establishment. I got a phone call from him. He was like, "What's your availability for the next month?" And I was like, well, I'm working these 3 days here, but at the moment I've got nothing solidly booked in. What have you got in mind? He was like, "Can you fly out to Italy in 3 days?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I've got a month tour for you, but it's in 3 days' time, so you have to be available then and ready." And so I got back to him the next day after phoning this company and sorting everything out for those 3 days of work, and he'd managed to wrangle it with management that on those 3 days I'd fly back from, I think it was Germany, fly from Germany back to the UK. I'll fly back with the tour manager that was doing the last week and a bit, fly back from him from Heathrow the day after the event, and fly directly out. I think it was meeting them back in Germany, if I was correct, on the way to Switzerland. So I was flying back onto 3 days off in Switzerland, and then did a run of shows again. So this was my first ever experience. Didn't really know what to pack, how heavy to pack, and everything like this. So I packed for the 3 weeks, well, 2.5, and then I was like, I'll repack and wash in the week I have off or whatever. So I got my brain's mixing this time with the other tour for the same artist. So I flew out to Italy, and we went to the airport. I slept around his house the day after that, ready for in the morning to fly out to Italy. So we were flying out of Gatwick which, as anyone knows from someone that's like northwest near Heathrow, I'm literally 20 minutes from Heathrow driving. If you drive from Heathrow to Gatwick, it's like, depending on the day, it can be a solid like hour, 2 hours. I've once, the first ever holiday I went on, driving back from Gatwick to here took 5 hours. 5 hours, which is absolutely fucking crazy. But luckily we were going at like early flight. It was like one of the earliest flights you can get, the ones around like 7 a.m. So we woke up at like 4. It took us like an hour and a bit to get there. I was half asleep the whole time, so to me it felt like no time at all. And we went for a Spoons breakfast because of the glorious thing about Gatwick is they have a Wetherspoons in the terminal. So we got a Spoons, and the Spoons in Gatwick is slightly fancier than a standard Spoons. So it has a few more options, and all the options are a bit nicer. I imagine it's so like they leave a good impression. So if anyone comes back, people try Wetherspoons in the towns they stay in, or like a tourist, which is lovely when you're English and you're going out there. So it was like literally the 25 from basically from Heathrow wrapping all the way back round to Gatwick was just absolutely rammed. And this was about a decade ago now, so it was just before everyone had like Google Maps with all the route calculation on it. So yeah, it took us an hour and a half. We got the Spoons. We were eating. I'm sort of asking a few questions about like what the tour is, like what exactly I'll be doing, what my job roles are, because I was doing backline and monitor engineering. So I was setting it all up for Tash and doing everything like that. We were sat next to a hen do that was going out. Now, they just ordered about the same time as us, I think a minute later, and then they got a bottle of Prosecco, but an expensive, but it wasn't like the 20 quid bottle, it was like the 50 quid bottle. They'd all about had a glass, but I don't think 2 of them had. And they went to the toilet. By the time they get back, they noticed that their flight was leaving then. So they were having a right palaver. They were like, should we get a refund? Should we try and get a refund? Stop our food, all this stuff. And I was just like, mate, if your flight's about to leave, don't care about the refund. Don't care about anything. Just fucking go. Like you missed a flight, you're gonna waste a lot more than the tenner on the breakfast. So they run off, but just before they run off, they turn to me and my mate Dan. They're just like, do you want this bottle of Prosecco? I'm like, yeah, why not? And so they gave us half a bottle of Prosecco with 2 fresh glasses and ran off to their flight. So there we sat with this fresh bottle and we just sort of looked at each other, was like, oh, this is definitely a good start to any tour. He's like, yeah, to be fair, as far as they go, this is definitely one of the better ones that you'll find. So we do that. We head off to our gate, get on the flight nice and early, and we get into it's Sesta Levante is the town. It's like proper southern Italy. It's like a town out in the boonies. It's great. It's a lovely place. If I'm even spelling that right. I don't think it's far-ish from Venice, because I think that's where the artist actually went. I can't even think of where we flew into. All I know is that it was a long drive to Milano the next day. But I know it's on the coast. I definitely know it's on the coast. But yeah, we flew in. It obviously, you get walking off the plane, you get that lovely aroma of like warm country, and because of obviously all the humidity is different, it was just fucking beautiful. So we go from there. We get picked up by a guy who I still had no idea who it was, and get taken all the way over to the actual town. So we get to the town, we set up. It's in this weird amphitheatre, and what you always learn as an Englishman working in Italy is that the Italian men will not respect a word you say off the bat. Like it's hard to get them to do anything when you want them to do it unless you speak to someone else. We had a weird setup speaker-wise because of the rider had sort of just been ignored in that sense. But we're setting up, I'm setting all the guitars up. Tash helps me learn little bits about her setup, like where the pedals go, all this stuff. And I'm new to the backline side of things. I've only done it once before in the O2 Indigo with the Answer. Obviously, I've dabbled in guitars and stuff. I'm not a good player at all. I'm a terrible player. I don't know any fucking chords anymore. I did when I was like 11, when I was taking like acoustic guitar at level, but I stopped doing all that. I'm meaning to get a bass because I really, really want to play bass. It's something that in my brain is like important for me to learn, especially with me working with so many musicians and stuff like this. It's always been a goal of mine to really get that going and learning stuff. So we move on to just before the event. It's like an hour or two. I think there's a minor support act, but we're not dealing with it, so it's not my problem. So we continue on with our day, and we get taken by the promoters. I think it's promoters. And we get taken down to a restaurant right by the coast. It was beautiful, to be honest. That whole town is just one of the nicest towns I've ever been in. But I say but a lot, man. I say but too much. Gotta love the butts though. So we head down, and it's just a really scenic village. You could see them fishing. You could see them getting the stuff that was sold in the restaurants. And we get taken to this booth in the back. Now, only 3 of us went, and there was 6 booked in. And this is all proper Italian restaurant in Italy. So the food is obviously fucking beautiful. So we get the first dish, which was like the appetizer. I don't really drink wine at this point in time, so I just have a Coke. I regret these decisions because a bit of white wine with what we had was amazing. So we got like mussels in a garlic sauce and something, and I think it was garlic and white wine, but obviously the white wine's cooked off, so it's just basically garlic and the taste of white wine. We sat down, and of the 3 of us that was there, when there was supposed to be 6, only 2 of us liked seafood. And there's 2 pots of mussels, and 1 pot is for 6 people. So there was basically me and the other guy just having a pot of mussels for 3 people in front of each of us. And I'd never had mussels before, so it was a bit of a learning experience to see, do I like this? Because if I don't eat it, I'm basically going hungry. So I have this pot, and I end up cleaning it out, basically. Having all the mussels to myself, and it was honestly one of the best food experiences I've had in life. It was one of those moments where I was like, I shouldn't have another, but I can't help myself. I move on to the pasta, because they bring, when in Rome, almost quite literally, do as the Romans do. So we have pesto pasta, tomato pasta, like different selections. I think one had meat in, and one was just vegetarian. I think I had the vegetarian one, and again I have a fair amount of that. And then it's about time to head back up for the show. Now, the show went okay. Obviously, we had the issues, but it was very minor, which on the bright side led to the gig the next day. From what it was going to be, got stepped up into something much better for in our position. But Milano, when you're not in the centre, it's like not the town that people expect it to be. And after having that first night on the bus, that second gig was amazing. But it's so like, people talk about like anxiety for work and stuff like that. There was a whole nother level after that terrible gig. There wasn't any of our fault, but it just sets a bad tone, in a manner. Going on to that second gig, and the tone then becoming so much higher because of the work that we put in, and what we got out of that second day was just superb. It was amazing. And that was in Milano of all things, and I was just like, okay, maybe I like this town after all. I've got my focus has gone auto again. I don't want autofocus because it keeps freaking going funny. I didn't even see if that was set right. I did not. No, I can't edit it for some reason. And that feeling of when like you have a good gig, it sticks with you, and it's the biggest thing I'm missing from this year. It is that I haven't managed to mix any bands. I haven't been around music like I generally do. I did a couple of events, obviously, early on in the year, but then stuff just started getting cancelled left, right, and the centre, as you could imagine, when coronavirus started hitting hard for everyone. But we went on to the third day, and it's okay to laugh at this, but the festival we went to was called Blue Balls. It's in Lucerne, Switzerland, and the town is freaking beautiful. It's one of the nicest towns I've ever been in, and Switzerland does sort of just hold that as a thing. It's super clean, super nice. It's the only place I've drunk a bottle of Heineken and not thought to myself, this is piss water. But that's sort of what you get when you go to Switzerland. Everything's way more expensive, but it's a lot nicer. We headlined one of the stages facing over the river, and I was literally stood there at the side of the stage mixing the monitors, and I just sort of looked and I was like, oh my, like, that's stunning, just beautiful. But I think, no, we didn't get a hotel there. We had a day room there, which was amazing. It was solidly and by far one of the best places I've been, and I'm still blessed that I've ever done that in my life. A lot of people would kill for an opportunity like that, and it being able to sit in a festival that takes over a whole town as prestigious as Blue Balls, and be able to sit on the edge of the stage with a beer in my hand, look over at a river and thousands of people, and just be like, wow, I helped work on this and manage to support a headline artist do what they do. But yeah, that is just a bit of the sort of tour life I lived at the time. Wishing I could go back and do it again. It's doubtful. For another year, or at least 6 months. Well, guys, that was a video. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment, talk about how you think gigs are going to be in 2021. Because, going forward, we're definitely going to be listening to a lot more live music coming out of lockdowns and this pandemic. If you did like the content, I do stream on Twitch, Tuesday through Friday, so come by, ask me any questions. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.